Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Checking in on the MJ sector, CGC got a bull break, so the ideal way to start the week, but there's always a but it wasn't the strong follow-through close that we would like to see. And the red flag for me, not necessarily a red flag, but something to stay cautious of, is CGC was the only bull making this move. I want to see the sector going together. That's when we're confident, when everything's moving up at the same time. Today we had a lot of red out there to start the morning. CGC was green. It was up 3.5%, 4%, but nobody else was following along. And I do believe that the sector is still seeing overhang from ACB weakness. ACB was downgraded this morning. We broke short-term support, and we're down at the lows. It's really deja vu all over again for me, where we had CGC's bearish reaction to earnings weighing on the sector, and then CGC's downgrades and its slow fade back here at the end of August was weighing on the sector. And so while an individual name like CGC can get a bull break, the sector was not following along as we would have liked to have seen. So is this a red flag? Yes. What's the hourly look like? We have consolidation. The most important support is 27.59. If we start tomorrow morning, reject from low 28s and then break 27.59, we lose the hourly uptrend just like that. And that's obviously a red flag. If we're going to see the first daily trend change that's clear and convincing in 4 or 5 months, we need to see follow through. We need to see the bulls break 28.74 tomorrow and be looking up at 29 psychological, and to try and see a bull cross of these daily exponential moving averages, the 12 and the 26 period, for the first time in a long time. So yes, we got the bull break, but there's a but. CRON on the daily time frame tried to follow along, but again, weakness. If we can't break 1241 and if we drop down and break 1105, we're then in a daily downtrend again with a lower high and lower low. This is a very weak bounce attempt for CRON, and it's just not convincing. It's a weekly bear flag at this point, and the bulls have to get over 1241 to try and prove that it is not a weekly bear flag, and they didn't do a good job of doing that today as we closed near the low of the day. So there's the weakness. ACB downgrade, gap down open, close at the low of the day. 538 is the only support level, and after 538, we're looking down at 5 psychological as the next support level. After that, bears are strong on ACB still. Anything on the hourly time frame under 583, the high of today, is just an hourly lower high. APHA, daily inside bar, fairly weak close with an upper wick. So we're looking down at support of 658 and 654 if those levels break. I would zoom out to the weekly time frame because we then have a weekly equilibrium. I would be looking at it as our low, high, higher low, and if we lose that support and keep pulling back, that's our daily lower high, and we're looking for a pullback and a higher low compared to 583. But bears are in control the last few days, and it's a daily inside bar looking at short-term support. TLRY had a great start to the day, came real close to breaking 33.66. I guess not real close, maybe 3% away, but started the week strong and then closed at the low of the day. So if we fail 33.66 and we break 29.07, the daily downtrend is resumed, and we're looking back at our recent low of 25.15. So far, out of everybody that we just looked at, only CGC saw continuation today and a lack of confidence if it's only CGC. It's like CGC's running ahead of the pack saying, come on, everybody, let's charge. And it looks over its shoulder and nobody's following it. And then just like that, you're going to have a lack of confidence when you look over your shoulder and nobody's with you. VFF with a huge dump today. I thought it was news. Maybe I missed something. But the hourly time frame, just to drop straight down to the teens essentially on increasing bear volume, that would be odd to happen with no news, but it's potentially what has happened. We had our high, low of the pullback, inability to break resistance, and back down to the low. So the weekly time frame, remember what we were saying was the most likely scenario was a weekly lower high, and now we've set it. So low, high, higher low, lower high. Bulls must hold 10.05 to stay in this weekly tightening range. Why was this the most likely scenario? Because the percentage distance needed to be covered in order for the bulls to be looking at a continuation move. We would have needed a 46% move to see that continuation. So when it's that big a move that's required, we can say, well, it's more likely that a weekly lower high is going to form instead. And as far as the midway point was about 12.35, and we got up just past that midway point and then rejected for that lower high. So it's all about 10.05. I will be interested in VFF for an oversold bounce tomorrow. If we start tomorrow weak first thing and break the low of today and have a quick pullback, I will be looking to play the oversold hourly bounce. VGW, solid day today with the higher open, but I would be looking for an equilibrium where we have our high, low of the pullback, and we're scouting a lower high. 380 might be that lower high. If we drop down tomorrow and break 367 and head towards 360, then we'll be confident that 380 is our lower high, and then we'll look for a higher low compared to 341. So tightening range more likely. Why is that more likely? Again, percentage distance that would have to be covered to see continuation. If we were going to go straight to a higher high, we need 15%. Otherwise, a 4-hour equilibrium is the most likely scenario. PYX, I said I was interested in the weekend video. I watched it trade for 5 minutes today and said, nope, not interested. Just not enough volume and liquidity for me. There was over 1% between the bid and the ask. And that is just not ideal trading conditions. I need something tighter than that. It's still the same setup, and we could get follow through. $15.60 and $16 are the resistance levels that need to break, but the bulls want to make sure that that happens on 400,000 shares plus, because today was slow going. And again, when you have gaps on the 5-minute time frame in the middle of the day, that tells you illiquidity. Curaleaf today, another daily inside bar, second one in a row. If it breaks bearish, we're looking down at 962 and 957. If it breaks bullish, we're looking up at our recent high. So the range is continuing to tighten over the last few days, and a break is imminent. Bulls want to see a break of 1015 and 1029. Bears want to see a break of 982. So break is imminent on Curaleaf, probably tomorrow. C-Web pulling back, not surprising at all. The hourly time frame was way overextended. Between Thursday and Friday, no hourly consolidation. We started this morning with some strength. Not surprising at all to see the pullback. We gave back a ton of that bull move up very quickly. Now we have an hourly lower high forming, and if we drop down and break 2261, we are then in an hourly downtrend, which means zoom out and look for the daily higher low to try and form compared to 2096. Bulls need to hold 2261 and break 2323 for the daily higher low to be set, or I should say for an hourly trend change to take place. To be looking for a daily higher low to very quickly be set, but bulls would have to completely shift momentum from the direction that it was heading into the end of the day. GTII, quickly trying to make its way to being a lead technical bull in the USMJ space. We had resistance of 1339 and 1368. We broke one of those levels. Bulls want to break 1368 tomorrow to follow through. Our new daily higher low is 1241 for the bulls to try and keep the daily uptrend in their favor. Zooming out on the weekly chart, we are just looking at anything under 1368 as a weekly lower high, but if we break that level, it won't be a weekly trend change, but it'll be step one in the sense that we'll be breaking weekly resistances, and the bulls will have a lot of space to be able to consolidate and try and form a weekly higher low to eventually change that trend. So all about 1368 short term and hourly time frame potentially needing to consolidate for a higher low at the end of the day today. OH and CL, bearish news. Well, CL had news and dilution was buried within that news. So a gap down open, and this was an overreaction as far as I'm concerned. Very significant gap down open after already seeing a 3-day dump. And now that you see that 3-day dump and say, oh, well, we had dilution news coming and a gap down coming, it certainly makes you a little bit suspect as far as who was in the know at the end of last week. But CL has dropped to a lower low, breaking 940 support. Only just barely, but we did drop to the lowest price of 2019. So that now puts it in a category of MedMen and IAN and names that are very close to their 2019 lows. On the bounce attempt, it was very weak. We closed stronger on OH. OH today closed the gap of the discount for the deal, I think it's at 6% now, which is the lowest I've seen it, because OH closed at the high of the day. And look at the hourly bounce on OH, and you look at CL, and it obviously wasn't nearly as strong. So the strength gained on OH means that discount has gone from 20% to 10% to now 6%. And we're going to keep an eye on that. Have to see an hourly trend change. The bulls have to hold 934 and break 983 for any kind of meaningful bounce on CL. Then we would zoom out to the daily and just look for a daily lower high to form. But keep in mind that CL weakness can directly impact OH, especially when the discount is very small. That means that OH is going to start tracking CL tick for tick if that discount disappears. I did play the oversold bounce on OH. I waited. I saw the reaction to news. I said, all right, gap down open for buying. I waited about 10 minutes to let the people rush to the exit. And then once we reached a point where everybody that's going to sell has sold, I bought ORHOF and treated it just like a day trade. I knew I was going to sell the hourly oversold bounce. So I entered that position a few pennies from the low of the day. I scaled out half of it 10 cents higher, the other half 15 cents higher. That was a 3/4 day maker. And the reason I exited a bit premature than I otherwise would have was because I still have a swing position and I didn't want to be overexposed by being stuck in a day trading position while already having a swing position. So essentially it's the psychology of knowing I have a position that's going to benefit if this bounce keeps going. I'm going to lock in this short-term profit. If we top out, that's great. I made a good decision. If we don't, that's great. I'm still going to profit with my swing position. Or I should say still make back up ground from my swing position. So I entered my OH swing position long ago. One of those positions is still green 10% or so. And the other one, a lot of that profit cushion has now been erased. So a big setback for that swing position. Fortunately, I had a lot of profit cushion, so not in the red at this point, but a lot of gains given back. So I will be looking to adjust my plan by selling on some bounce, trimming my position a little bit, freeing back up cash. I'm not going to exit my entire position, but you better believe I'm going to exit position that I otherwise would have kept if we were in a daily uptrend, which is no longer the case. So on any bounce here for OH, we are just going to be looking for a daily lower high to be set, and I want to protect against that. So I will be trimming some OH position, and today was a big setback as far as giving back a lot of profit from that position. IAN still weak, dropping to lower lows, 2019 lows again. I'll be interested if the daily RSI, I got something in my throat. Daily RSI, 4-hour RSI, and hourly RSI. If you give me all of those oversold, I'll be interested to play my oversold bounce flips that I was doing back in the spring and early summer. I've been holding off because it's not been the RSI levels I've wanted on the longer term time frames. So the bears are still completely in control. When we do bounce, anything under 333 is just a daily lower high. And there's still a lot of weakness in this sector. And CL, which was one of the stronger names, CL and OH were making their way to the front of the pack. And now just to go straight back down for CL, back down to its lows, big setback. So bottom line, still skeptical of bulls because CGC was the only name that saw any follow through today and nobody else did. We do have the potential short-term catalyst of a vote of the SAFE Act in Congress, potentially as early as next week. That's something to be watching for. But again, the hurdle will be the Senate. It'll be nice if it passes in the House and we get some articles and some interest and some attention. But in my opinion, we have to pass this in the Senate and we have to have the president sign it for us to get a meaningful, big-time catalyst in the USMJ sector. Because without that, time is not the friend of this sector in the sense that dilution and convertible debt and things like that will only continue to weigh on the share price. And if we're not seeing advancements in the banking sector, we're not going to be getting headlines, we're not going to be getting attention, we're not going to be on CNBC. So that is essential, and that's what we're looking towards. And that's what the sector certainly needs. It needs a shot in the butt of some steroids, and the SAFE Act getting through Congress and having a chance in the Senate will be a potential shot in the butt. Otherwise, stay cautious as a bull. Scale out partial positions into profit if you have it. Remain protective because it's very clear we are not out of the woods yet. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Do good things.